That relentless drive that you have, it used to be your superpower. It's what got you this far. But what happens when that drive starts to feel a little bit less like a jetpack and more like a cage? If you can't remember the last time you took a real break without this just tidal wave of guilt, or the thought of actually stopping is scarier than the thought of failing, you might be dealing with something a little bit more toxic than just a strong work ethic. Your productivity might be poisoning you and your relationships. So in this video, we're going to break down the 7 signs that your drive has turned destructive, and more importantly, how to start fixing it. Now, before we break this down, I wanted to give a quick disclaimer. To be clear, productivity is a beautiful thing. It's the engine of progress, the fuel for our wildest dreams. For solopreneurs like you, it's that spark that lets you build that entire world from scratch. But like any powerful force, when it gets out of control and out of balance, it can burn everything to the ground. A healthy level of productivity pulls you forward and feels aligned with who you are. But on the other hand, toxic productivity is this obsession with achievement that ends up draining you, it hollows you out, and it whispers that you're never, ever going to do enough. It's not just hard work, it's being trapped in an identity that is based entirely on your performance, and that identity is just never satisfied. So let's get into the signs. The first and most obvious sign is that you feel deeply and profoundly guilty whenever you're not working. You might sit down to watch a movie or have dinner with your family, but your brain is still back at the office somewhere. There's this nagging voice in your head insisting that this is just wasted time. You could be cleaning out your inbox, preparing for your next client, or getting ahead on your content that you need to share to the world. Your self-worth is so tangled up with your productivity that any moment of just stillness feels like a personal failure. Rather than rest stops being this essential part of the process, they feel like weakness that you just simply can't afford. Hustle culture loves to glamorize these sleepless nights, but the truth is, leaders who never take a break eventually break themselves. So how do you fix this? You need to start seeing rest not as the opposite of work, but as a crucial part of your work. Your best ideas don't come when you're staring at a spreadsheet. They come when you're in the shower or on a walk or just those quiet moments throughout your day. Schedule these pit stops into your calendar with the same seriousness as a client meeting. Then the key here is to treat them as a non-negotiable. So the second sign that your productivity might have become toxic is that your mood and your self-worth are on this violent roller coaster dictated entirely by your daily business performance. If you land a big client, you're a genius, a legend, you're on top of the world. But if you missed out on a sale or a deadline, you're a complete failure, a fraud, and you start wondering why you even bothered getting out of bed today. This is a classic symptom that your identity has become completely merged with your achievements. You're no longer a person who runs a business, you are the business. Its wins are your wins. Its losses are a reflection of your personal flaws. This is incredibly dangerous, and it's a really uncomfortable way to live because we all know that the solopreneur's journey is nothing but ups and downs. So the daily habit here to break this cycle is to intentionally separate your value as a human from the performance of your company. Write it on a Post-it note if you have to. Stick it on your monitor next to your computer. Something that says, hey, my self-worth is not my output. Start celebrating the effort, not your outcomes. Your business is just something you do. It's not who you are. You were a whole worthy person before you started it, and you will be a whole worthy person if it were to vanish tomorrow. So start reminding yourself of that every single day. Sign number 3 is when you become obsessed with that feeling of being busy instead of the reality of just making progress. Your to-do list is a mile long. Your calendar looks like the game of Tetris, and you love telling people how slammed you are because it feels like this badge of honor. But if you look closely, a lot of that work is just motion. It's not forward momentum. It's busy work, reorganizing your inbox for the 5th time today, endlessly tweaking your website copy or binging on every single business podcast out there without actually implementing a single thing. This is toxic productivity, the need to appear busy to soothe your anxiety about not doing the real work that's going to get you ahead. It's easier to stay busy than to do those big scary things that might actually lead to failure or to your success. So here's the fix. Do an honest audit of your time. At the end of the day, ask yourself one question. What did I do today that actually moved me forward and closest to my wildly important goals? Learn the difference between motion and action. Motion is planning and learning. Action is making the call, publishing that post, launching the product. Toxic productivity traps you in this perpetual motion. Instead, identify the 1 to 3 needle-moving actions that are really going to move you forward and do those first. Now, the fourth toxic productivity sign is when your body starts sending out a physical SOS and this mental distress signals. This can look like bone-deep fatigue, and no amount of sleep can fix it. Constant headaches, digestive problems, or getting sick all the time. Mentally, it shows up as brain fog, being easily irritated, or this profound loss of motivation for things you used to love. Now, these aren't just minor annoyances. Your body is screaming that it just can't keep this pace. Toxic productivity tells you to maintain more caffeine and just power through. It convinces you that proper meals, exercise, and sleep, those are just luxuries. But in reality, burnout is the biological result of running in the red for way too long. The only solution here is to start listening to your body with the same focus you give your revenue. When you feel tired, rest. When you feel hungry, eat a real meal away from your desk for a few minutes. Your health is not a line item you can cut. You are your business's most valuable asset. If you break down, the entire company breaks down with you. Sign number 5 is the quiet erosion of your personal relationships. So just stop and think about it for a minute. When was the last time you had a conversation and you were actually present, not just waiting for your turn to talk and mentally rearranging your to-do list? So a few things to look out for. Friends might have stopped asking you to hang out because your answer is always, "I'm too busy." Your significant other, they feel like they're competing with your laptop for attention. You're physically present at dinner, but you're emotionally absent. You're still solving all those problems from work. This isn't because you don't care about them, it's because toxic productivity has pulled you into this pit. And anything that doesn't look like a goal seems like a distraction. But one thing you need to remember is what good is success if you have no one to share it with at all? Now, the fix here requires intentional, firm boundaries. Set clear work hours. When you're off, you're off. Put the phone away during dinner. Plan a date night or a weekend away. And I know this is the scary part. Leave the laptop at home. Reconnect with the people who knew you before you were a solopreneur and who remind you about the other parts of your identity. A fulfilling life is the only foundation for a sustainable business. Now, sign number 6 is your chronic inability to feel any lasting satisfaction from your achievements. You did it. You hit that huge goal that you've been working towards for months. You feel this flicker of relief and then nothing. An empty space and a voice that immediately asks, "Okay, what's next?" Healthy productivity pauses for a moment to celebrate those victories. Toxic productivity just moves the goalposts every single time you have a win. And catching your breath, that's tough. Instead, it's a what's next addiction, fueled by this deep fear that if you stop climbing for even a second, everything will come crashing down around you. This is why you see many people who are wildly successful on the outside, but completely hollowed out on the inside. They're always chasing this next high, never allowing themselves to actually enjoy the one that they just earned. The antidote here is to deliberately practice celebration. When you achieve something big or small, just stop for a second, pause, and actually feel it. Acknowledge the effort that it took, share that win with someone. Keep a done list next to your to-do list to serve as a physical reminder of how far you have come. Reward yourself for those larger milestones. You literally have to teach yourself how to savor your success, or you're going to spend your entire life chasing a feeling you're never going to actually allow yourself to feel. The final sign that your productivity has become toxic is the most heartbreaking of all, and it happens to many of us. You're working harder than ever, but you've forgotten your why. Remember that fire you had when you first started? Your desire for freedom, or that desire to build something meaningful, your pursuit of that passion. Now it's all just a joyless grind. That passion has been suffocated by the pressure. This happens when the hustle, the metrics, that growth at all costs completely demolishes the why. You are so focused on winning the game that you've forgotten why you even wanted to play in the first place. This is the final stage of burnout, where you feel cynical, you're detached from the very work that you once just lit your soul on fire. So the only way back from this is to reconnect with your original purpose. Step away from the noise and ask yourself, what actually matters to me today? Does the work I do actually reflect that? This might mean making a big pivot, or saying no to a profitable but soul-crushing project, or just redesigning your schedule to prioritize the work that still lights you up. Your why is your compass. Without it, you're just running as fast as you can in the wrong direction. So just recognizing yourself in these signs is a huge accomplishment. It's not a sign of a weakness, it's the first step to a happier and more fulfilling personal and professional life. And if this resonated with you, I've created a free guide called The Pillars of High Performance that will help you to develop the daily habits and manage your energy and build healthier boundaries in your life. Check it out. The link is in the description down below. Now, if you saw yourself in any of this, please hear me today. You're not broken. You're not alone, and the path to healthier productivity isn't nearly as long as you think. Today, it's time to finally give yourself permission to be human first and a business owner second. Permission to rest, to be imperfect, and to define your success on your own terms. Terms that include your health, your relationships, and your peace of mind. Your greatest project is not your business. It's the life you are building each and every day. So thanks for watching, and if this video was helpful, please give it a like and subscribe for more ideas on building a business that is not going to break you. And let me know in the comments down below which of these ideas really hit you the hardest. Sharing our stories is how we're going to change the conversation for every one of us.